you.
So, Jason,
just go, get it over with.
You had promised me the opportunity to answer your previous question, which had something to do. It's been so long ago, I don't know exactly what it is, but basically something about game one and what we want to see out of Florida State. I would think that there's no way they can lose this game. It's just, so this needs to be 45-10 or whatever the score is going to be. I think way beyond what the score is going to be and being alarmed by if it's a little closer than it's supposed to be are there going to be any positions out there where you come away from this thinking a good team can really exploit that and there's not a whole lot we can do about it? Like, let's say the number one corner is great. He's locking everything down, but the second and third corners are getting beat a little bit. And it's like, okay, they shouldn't be getting beat by these receivers and we got nowhere else to go. Or let's say the two tackles are getting whipped off the edge and you're like, okay, well, we got nowhere else to go. Some of those more obvious things against an inferior opponent that are going to be maybe tough to fix.
To me, I want to see the linebacker position. That's the position I'm going to be watching the most this week because I'm confident in our secondary. I'm confident in our defensive line. And, don't get me wrong. Just look at them. I like Kalen DeLoach. I like Tatum Bethune. I like these guys, but I'm not 100% sold on them at this point. And once again, I don't think Duquesne is going to be the miracle difference. But I that's the one position I think I'm looking at the most, that I need to see something in this game.
By the way, Web Security hits the like button, and he doesn't even like Florida State.
That's fine. We've taken money from Miami fans. We've taken their pride. We've taken their football talent. We'll take your likes too.
We're not taking any money from them today, that's for sure.
We'll take their 305 every time.
I think there's been, just to kind of go around this question a little bit, Mark, I think there's been really good competitions that's helped this group to find out who's going to be the one to step up in this. Because, like I said, there's been a lot of rotation. If you look at wide receiver versus corner, it's hard to say anything until we see it in a game. But, it has been extremely competitive to where you hope that the production on Saturday is a lot better. It's the same way with the offensive line and defensive line. There's obviously the weaker side by a pretty large margin, and that's the OL going against Fabian Love and Robert Cooper. And we don't need to sleep on Malcolm Ray, Jared Jackson, and Joshua Farmer. And then you got defensive ends coming off the edge like that. It's helped a ton for Bless Harris. I'll tell you that. It's helped a lot. A ton for Robert Scott, too. Those two absolutely getting great reps against some really fast defensive ends coming off the edge, along with Dennis Briggs and Pat Payton. That's helped a ton. That's where you start finding out, and I think that's where Norvell, them building the depth chart. Yeah, you got to put names out there and get it out to the media, but on Saturday things could be a little bit different, and the competitive nature that we've seen through this fall camp and spring is something way different. And I was only there for practices during game weeks last year. This was our first fall camp to really go in and watch, and we were able to go through the spring, but this has been highly competitive because you've got transfers coming in to take your spot. The wide receiver in Pokey, like James was talking about earlier, he's been probably the most consistent guy in camp, probably him and McLean, maybe and Johnny now. But, Pokey's been able to hold on to that spot, and, nobody's talking about him enough because we keep on hearing about the transfer names. That's understandable. But Pokey put on some pounds and has worked his tail off to keep a starting spot on this roster. There's just been really good competitive battles on each side, and not only just from one position to another, but really in the old room, talking about that wide receiver room and that DB room, guys coming in, transferring, and newcomers like Azrae Thomas pushing some of the older guys. You like that, and it's exactly what Mike Norvell wanted to build this upcoming season. Bring in some competition with depth and help fine-tune a team to compete on the big stage, which will be eventually next Sunday.